Harris Faulkner has spent decades as one of Fox News' most trusted voices, earning 6 Emmy Awards along the way. Calm and composed under the brightest lights, she's built a reputation for authority and professionalism. But behind that polished presence is a life shaped by personal loss, frightening encounters, and moments that nearly changed her career forever. And when she suddenly stepped away from the screen, it raised a deeper question. What has Harris Faulkner endured off camera that viewers never saw? In late 2025, veteran Fox News anchor Harris Faulkner, widely known for her authoritative presence on daytime television and political coverage, suddenly stepped away from the spotlight, leaving viewers and media watchers wondering where she went. The 6-time Emmy Award-winning journalist has been a fixture at Fox News since 2005, but she suddenly didn't appear on the Faulkner Focus or other regular programs from November 2025 through January 2026. The reason she gave was that she wanted to address important personal matters. But this brought up a lot of questions, and everyone started to ask what really happened to Harris Faulkner. The break happened after a period of intense news coverage following the 2024 U.S. election cycle and the 2025 presidential inauguration. This marked the first prolonged absence in Faulkner's nearly 2-decade career as a Fox News anchor. Her sudden disappearance from airwaves fueled speculation across social media and industry circles. Many viewers and commentators started questioning why she left and what it means for her future in broadcast journalism. In a statement that she shared shortly before her hiatus, Faulkner said that her time away was not a retreat, but an intentional step toward personal growth and family support. She explained that one of her priorities during the break was supporting her eldest daughter, Bella Berlin, as she was going to college. This was a major milestone that was joyous and challenging for her family. Along with this, Faulkner spoke often embarking on what she called a rebirth journey of love with her husband, Tony Berlin. She revealed that she and her husband wanted to reconnect after years off balancing high-pressure assignments with parenting and professional responsibilities. Colleagues and fans rallied around Faulkner's announcement, as everyone was shocked at her transparency and willingness to take some time off work for her family's well-being. Many focused on the broader conversation, as her sudden break pointed to the importance of mental health and work-life balance. This was especially for public figures that often shoulder a dual pressure to career and family like Harris Faulkner. But the break has also led to some family hardships. In late 2025 to early 2026, she revealed on air that her daughter has had to endure some terrible things, and that's part of what forced her to take a temporary break from her network duties. In late 2025 and early 2026, veteran Fox News anchor Harris Faulkner delivered a series of deeply personal on-air reflections that offered rare insight into the emotional struggles behind her recent break from broadcasting. Faulkner, who has been a prominent figure at Fox since 2005, said she wanted to address intense family concerns. One of these concerns is about her daughter's experiences, which sparked widespread discussion among viewers and media observers. Faulkner admitted that part of her decision to take a break was because all the terrible things her daughters have had to endure in recent years, which she called painful and formative. She didn't cite everything that happened, but she said that protecting her, guiding her children through these challenges is her number one priority. The anchor has long been open about her quiet worries regarding her daughter's safety and well-being amid the pressures of a high-profile public life. As a mother of 2 biracial girls, Bella and Danica, Faulkner has spoken in past interviews about the difficult conversations she has had with them about race, identity, and faith in a divided America. Her concerns echo public remarks she made before in 2025 when she revealed that she felt anxious about how racial and faith-related tensions can affect young people in college and broader society. These were fears rooted in real-world pressures faced by her own children. Faulkner also highlighted the emotional toll of milestone transitions, especially as her eldest daughter Bella prepared to enter college. This was a change that she called one of the hardest truths in her life. Along with this, she was supporting her youngest daughter through the intense world of competitive sports where issues of fairness and bias affect young athletes today. Her break from the anchor desk gave her some space to deal with the long-standing feelings of mom guilt. She felt a lot of pain from missing important moments because of her demanding career and the unkind judgments from outside observers. Now she is preparing to return to television after a brief hiatus. But this is not the tragedy that has taken Harris Faulkner off the air for a while. When her father passed away during the COVID-19 pandemic, she found herself devastated. Faulkner has openly reflected on one of the most profound personal losses of her life, which is the death of her father, retired Lieutenant Colonel Bobby Arda Harris, and how it tested her faith and resilience. She revealed that her father's passing on Christmas Day 2020 was a deeply painful moment that reshaped her spiritual journey amid the isolating conditions of the COVID-19 pandemic. In interviews in her memoir, Faulkner described her father as her North Star and lifelong role model whose influence permeated her personal life and professional ethos. Her death happened during a period of strict pandemic restrictions, preventing her from seeing him in his final moments and compounding her sense of loss. In the weeks that followed, Faulkner admitted that she struggled a lot with her faith. She admitted that she started to pray less and cry more, leaving the spiritual grounding that she had relied on since childhood. Eventually, she was able to navigate her grief when she discovered his annotated Bible while packing her father's belongings. The book was filled with handwritten reflections on Scripture that had sustained him throughout his life. As she looked through his notes, Faulkner found a sense of solace and connection in his interpretations and to her father in faith. She later said that this experience was a moment of spiritual realignment, and that reading his words felt as if the pieces in her life were being knitted back together after being broken. Faulkner has been open about this chapter in her life, especially with how her father's legacy continues to shape her understanding of strength, faith, and purpose. But this was not the only tragedy that caused her to question her faith, as a few years before that, she also dealt with the death of her mother. Faulkner has also spoken about the impact that the loss of her mother, Shirley Harris, had on her life and career. Shirley Harris passed away in November 2016 after a battle with advanced lung cancer. This was a struggle that Faulkner saw face to face, and she supported her mother as her caregiver during the final stages of her illness. The experience left a lasting mark on Faulkner, shaping her personal outlook and her understanding of faith, love, and loss. Faulkner has described her bond with her mother as inseparable and credited Shirley with instilling in her the values that eventually guided her through life and into a high-profile career in journalism. She has spoken about the deep sense of absence that followed her mother's death, and even wrote that she missed her so much that it physically hurts her heart. This heartfelt sentiment underscored the depth of her connection and also the enduring emotional resonance of her mother's influence. Faulkner admired her mother a lot because of her strength, warmth, and faith, which has helped her shape her own professional ethos. Raised in a household where compassion, resilience, and service were important values, Faulkner leaned on those lessons during her mother's illness and in the years that followed. In interviews, she talked about her mother's encouragement to embrace life's challenges with grace and to be a source of comfort and support for others, even amid personal hardship. The experience of caring for her mother during her final months also gave Faulkner a unique perspective on the emotional toll of a serious illness. She brought this experience and understanding to her work, especially when she covered the COVID-19 pandemic, although she never realized that she would lose her father while covering the global challenge. Till today, the death of her mother remains a defining chapter in Faulkner's life story, and she has allowed her audience to glimpse into the private courage that backs her public persona. It's with the support of her family that she has overcome many challenges, like when she was being stalked by an ex-boyfriend. Before Harris Faulkner was a well-known Fox News anchor, she endured a harrowing stalking ordeal that left a lasting imprint on her personal and professional life. While working as an evening anchor at WDF-TV in Kansas City in the 1990s, Faulkner became the target of relentless harassment by a former boyfriend who refused to accept the end of her relationship. The man followed her from North Carolina to Kansas. And it was so devastating because he shadowed her very move and was escalating his behavior even more. At first, he was just calling her over and over again and sending flowers. But the situation quickly worsened. The stalker started showing up at Faulkner's residence. She spent time outside her apartment and menaced her with unsolicited attention. He keyed and vandalized her car, sending a chilling message about his persistent and disregard for boundaries. Faulkner remembered that this was one of the most unsettling times of her life. It shook her confidence at a time when she was building her career and trying to make her mark in television news. The stalking took an even more frightening turn when the man broke into her home, violating her sense of safety and security. On that occasion, Faulkner's screams alerted neighbors and led to a police response. He was eventually arrested. The intruder was fixated on her even after he was incarcerated into prison. Faulkner has said that the moment when she was notified of his release from prison was life-saving because it helped her take precautions that she might not have considered. If not for that warning, the ordeal would have ended very differently. Throughout her ordeal, Faulkner relied a lot on her faith and inner resilience to persevere, and this has become one of her life's trials and experiences. Aside from her personal life, Faulkner has had to deal with trauma during her career, like when she reported on a devastating event. Faulkner has been open about the emotional toll of covering some of the darkest chapters in recent American history, especially her live reporting from the scene of the Sandy Hook Elementary shooting in 2012. She was on the ground in Newtown, Connecticut on December 14th. 2012 as the community struggled with the aftermath of the devastating mass shooting that claimed the lives of 20 young children and 6 adults. This remains one of the most harrowing assignments of her career. Reporting live from the parking lot outside the school, Faulkner witnessed the arrival of hers carrying victims' bodies, a moment she described later as unbearably heavy and emotionally overwhelming. Instead of simply delivering the facts, she instinctively called for a moment of silence on air, giving viewers space to process the enormity of the tragedy alongside her and interviews after her assignment. Faulkner admitted that covering Sandy Hook was one of the most difficult moments in her professional life. She admitted that she had even broken down on air as the emotional weight of the scene proved overwhelming. Faulkner explained that while journalists are supposed to remain composed, there are times when the human impact of such events is too profound to contain. She said that she was prepared to let the audience see her vulnerability as long as she could continue to truthfully and compassionately report the story. The assignment left a lot of trauma in Faulkner's life, shaping her approach to covering future tragedies. It also reinforced her belief in the importance of balancing professionalism with humanity. But another moment was when she interviewed the president during one of the worst times of America. Harris Faulkner drew widespread attention in 2020 for a notable interview with then-President Donald Trump at the height of the Black Lives Matter protests following George Floyd's death. She demonstrated a blend of professionalism, personal insight, and journalistic courage, earning praise across media circles. In the televised sit-down, Faulkner pressed Trump on his response to nationwide unrest and directly confronted him about his controversial tweet. When the looting starts, the shooting starts. But many critics viewed this as inflammatory. Instead of letting the comment stand unexamined, she challenged him on its origins and implications, explaining its troubling historical context. She literally engaged the president in a back-and-forth discussion about race and leadership. The interview was different also because she framed her questions around her lived experiences as a black woman and a parent. She brought these perspectives into the interview, underscoring how moments of national crisis resonate to everyone differently depending on their identity and background. At one point, she talked about the emotional weight of George Floyd's final words and how that moment connected with her on a human level. Many journalists and experts applauded Faulkner's methodical and empathetic style. She didn't adopt an adversarial stance, neither did she defer it, but instead she balanced the dialogue. This is just one of her many career highlights as a leading anchor under Fox News. As a reporter whose career has spanned some of the most significant news events of the past several decades, Harris Faulkner has some impressive highlights. Since joining Fox News in 2005, she has anchored multiple programs, including the Faulkner Focus and Outnumbered,